All right, everyone. Welcome to ZeroPoint Module 14. Today we got quite a few people in here, so let me get everybody listed off. Today we have Azylem B Waldo, mmarcel, SixOfClubs, Tritonn, and Yashnik. So we got a full house today. We're going to be talking a little bit about swaps, a little bit about mining, a little bit about what everybody else wants to get into. But first, those of you who've been here before probably know the drill, but we'll go through and just have everybody introduce themselves. So I'm just going to go down the list here, so pretty much alphabetical order. Azylem, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you?
I'm pretty sure everybody knows me. I like to make JPEGs for all the people that need JPEG and make MP4s for all the people that make MP4s. Oh, that's me.
Right on. And for anybody else who didn't know, he also does all the editing and mastering for these ZeroPoints. So big thanks to Azylem for all the stuff he does. Waldo, what about you?
Yo, I guess you guys could just sum me up as a tinkerer miner in regards to this conversation. That's been one of the most fascinating things to me about DERO is the mining since I found the community. So you'll find me there in that hashtag answering questions or just trying to be as helpful as possible. I'm pretty sure if you've been in the Discord, you see me, or if you've been on that X, you may have seen some of the posts that I pop out.
Right on. And mmarcel, what about you?
Yeah, hi. I'm one of the devs behind DERO community pools, and I'm currently working on DERO swaps. Yeah, and at the moment, I'm more busy in real life, so for me, the days could be longer. Yeah, and I'm working on bug fixes for the general DERO repository.
SixOfClubs, I think, is going to be mostly just listening in today, but still, since you're on the call, I'm going to put you on the spot if you want to introduce yourself for the billionth time.
Sure, why not? I'm SixOfClubs. I like to build things on DERO, and that's partly why my mind's half occupied at the moment. I'm pondering building, but I love learning about DERO, so it's hard to resist.
Right on. And Tritonn, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So, guy who spends way too much time at his computer. With DERO, I thought the encryption systems were dope, and I like how much open source stuff there is around, so I decided to make an open source miner that I'm looking to optimize more for DERO. So, like, as we speak, I'm sleep deprived. I went to bed at 8 in the morning today because I was working on algorithms and shit for the miner last night. So, with DERO, that's what I do.
Right on. Keep putting that work in. All right, and and Yashnik, do you want to give everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sup. Yashnik here. I am a node operator for DERO community pools for Germany and Virginia. Also, love blockchain and crypto in general. Community engager for different projects. DERO, one of them. You know me for setting up poker tournaments. Real life, I'm a system administrator. And yeah, I smoke dope and drink lots of beer.
All right. So let's first I wanted to kind of because I haven't talked to Tritonn much at all. So I did want to ask him a little bit about the miner that you're creating. So when did you start working on this miner?
I believe it was late spring of last year that I started working on it. Or maybe that's just when I got it to work, because getting the first version to work was a whole freaking thing, let me tell you. But yeah, almost a year now, I've had it in the works in some way. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what drove you to start working on that?
Right. So once I noticed that like the official DERO like GitHub has like a miner built in, but then I saw that these third-party community miners were like twice as fast. But like just the coding part of me was like, how does that work? I'm kind of curious to dig into this and see, because that was just after I had kind of stepped away from Web3 work as my primary income. but I still had like a bit of an itch to work on something, you know? And then I saw that all of the existing miners were closed source. I'm like, damn, so I can't even like sink my brain into this. Now I'm invested. So then from there, I basically just said, little pet project, I'm going to see if I can get some miner to work. And then I took it from there.
Right on. And so far, how do you feel about your progress on it?
Right now, I'm in a really good spot. I feel great about it. It's been cool to see that the community does value open source. It's been cool also, like every time I come back to kind of put my head down and work on it for a bit, I do make some gains. I do learn a lot. And this last round, I'm closing in on Astrominer's performance, which was like originally before Luna came out. That was my target. Like, you know, if I can catch Astro, then I've made it. But I've got some secret sauce in the works on the back end that I think could get me like between Astro and Luna if I'm not a dumbass. So I'm excited to share that in the next couple weeks. But like, it's going well so far. The hours have been worth it, and I'm learning a lot. And I think the miner will be fast. I've also got graphics card support on the pipeline too, and I've confirmed that I'm capable of getting it to work. So,
oh, awesome!
Oh, no, I was that smart.
Yeah, right. I know I do.
It's not worth all the hours sometimes, man. I swear.
But before we get too much further into that, what's the name of your miner?
TNN Miner. So just the abbreviation of my name with the two N's, then Miner. There's also a channel for it in the DERO community server. If you look in the community tools section of channels, you'll see it.
Okay, cool. And where else can people find it? Do you have a GitHub account or anything you want to let people know about? We can include the links in the descriptions for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Let me pull up. I forget what my GitHub handle spelled out as. So do I like drop the link in the chat here, or do I just spell it out?
Oh, you can just drop it in the chat and just say it out loud for anybody listening if they want to try to give a whack at looking it up on Google.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find my GitHub at GitHub/Tritonn204. That's my name, Tritonn with two N's, then 204. And then the first repo you'll see will be the TNN Miner repo. Everything's open source. There's a main branch, a dev branch, an ROCM main branch, and an ROCM dev branch. So you can see whatever you want to see there.
Awesome. Perfect.
And also the downloads for releases are found there as well.
Cool.
Good stuff.
I mean, I do know that you said that you were going to be working on GPU support next, so that seems like that's part of your future plans with that. I don't really have too many more questions to jump off on just this stuff specifically, so I know some other people had some mining questions they wanted to talk about or some mining subjects they'd like to talk about, so now that we've kind of covered Tritonn, does anybody have anything else they want to add?
No, I will say though that, it's cool that you've come out with an open source miner. It's huge for the DERO community. Absolutely.
I just wanted to throw out there that I do recall Captain mentioning a bounty for anybody that would be willing to share GPU support open source.
I think you'd mentioned that to me in the DMs like a long time ago. Yeah, we'll see. I think I DM'd Captain. I haven't heard back from him, but he's a busy man or person.
The problem with GPUs is that, let's be real here, it's not efficient on DERO. None of them are.
Can you clarify for me what makes it that way? So what are the pains of making the GPU miner optimal? Or, is it just the code in and of itself? Like I'm trying to make that make sense for me because I'm just a tinkerer. So
yeah. Did you want me to touch on that or Yashnik?
No, go ahead. I have no clue.
So, with DERO, the algorithm as it was intended, I think. I even found the original like GitHub message board where they were designing this version of the algorithm. Is that there's a lot of random operations that get like thrown in. So with like CPUs, since people are doing all kinds of random shit all the time on their computers, they have to be designed to handle everything. So the actual chips and like the optimizations they have in their structure and whatnot when you program for them are designed to handle this random stuff really well. GPUs, they can handle them just as well, but like actually programming, I'll put it this way. Programming on a CPU is like teaching like a few experts to do something really well, but like they're able to learn really fast. You can do the same work faster on a GPU, but it's like working with 1,000 idiots instead of 10 geniuses, if that makes sense. So you have to use your own brain power to split off everything possible into smaller pieces to feed to the graphics cards. And because of the way their memory works, they're not as fast for random operations. So I kind of have to pick apart the algorithm, and for everything that isn't random, milk the hell out of it. So that's the challenge. But I think it'll work.
Awesome. Thanks for that. That was a very good like a picture painted there. It made it a little bit more clear for me.
Have any of you used like the Astro NV, the NVIDIA miner they released for testing, or not really?
I have
I think I've tried it real quick, but
Astro NV. It's that's from the same devs as Astro Miner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've played with that one before. It gets pretty decent hash rate for what it is. I mean, like if I'm just gonna have a GPU sitting there and not doing anything, I might as well mine with it, right?
Yeah, because I remember like the hashes per watt was like decent when I had tried it out as well on my laptop. I was just surprised not as many people as I thought would have like tried to mess around with some of the graphics miners that have come out. But
On my side, I'm honestly not interested unless it's open source. So yours is first.
fair enough. Don't get me here rubbing my hands together now.
Well, you definitely have a built-in audience for open source miners because everybody has really just been wanting everything to be open source. It's not, our community isn't huge on running closed source software, you know?
I guess I'll clarify this too for anybody listening while my time in the spotlight is still here. My miner in like hash rate right now is a bit faster than Hanson, but a bit slower than Astro. But the minimum fee is only 1% if you pass the command flag. So it's open source. That's roughly what you can expect to get if you were looking for a miner that was faster than the OG one, but is also open source.
Less fees. Do you get any benchmarks you're willing to share on any specific GPUs?
Yeah, so for GPU, I'm probably not going to start working on that again until the algorithm I'm working on for CPU is done, because it'll make that a lot easier. But on my 5800X Ryzen, I get 8.9 to 9 kilohashes, and it's a little bit undervolted, but not much. Astro will get like 10, and Hanson will get like 8. So it's right in that middle ballpark.
On the GPU?
CPU, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
GPU, there isn't benchmarks yet. Nothing meaningful anyway. There's like 1 kilohash on my 7900 XTX in its early state, so definitely not something I'd be putting out yet, but we'll get there.
Pardon me, I probably should have looked into this before we started, but what language did you write it in?
C++.
As most miners.
Yeah. I did learn some Go when picking apart the DERO source code, but like just for accessibility to fast like math functions and stuff, I decided to go with C.
Yeah, that's been my understanding for most people, that when you do miners in C, you're just going to get faster hash rates just because of the nature of the language. So
Yeah. Tends to work out that way.
all right, Marcel,
Yeah.
did you have anything you wanted to add on the mining, or anything you want to talk about on Zero community pools that's related to it, or any news update?
At the moment, there are no big updates. At the moment, we are working to add Stratum support. I'm using my own miner. I haven't released it yet.
Oh, that's cool.
wait, what miner? You have a CPU or a GPU miner?
CPU miner,
Interesting.
but it's not as fast as Astro miner or DERO Luna miner. But for Tritonn, I have a hint for you later, how you can speed up hash rate for older Intel CPUs.
Okay, I'll definitely be interested in that. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, I have an old third generation Intel Core CPU around here. and I could speed up by 25%
Wow.
using a certain library provided by Intel itself.
Okay, that's interesting. That's good to know. It's definitely like out of left field for me. So I guess in the DMs later.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for your AMD miner.
It's coming.
Yeah, I don't have NVIDIA GPU here, so I'm waiting for an AMD GPU miner.
Is it just like in a desktop system, or do you have like some GPU rigs?
No, it's in a desktop PC.
Yep.
It's a desktop PC, but the processor is designed for mobiles. It's a mobile processor.
Yeah. Okay. I did have a question. You said you're working on Stratum support for your community pools. What will that change for you guys? Because I know like DERO's mining system when it comes to like the interoperability of it is a bit different than a lot of the other blockchains I've seen, or like my understanding of it might be. I didn't even know that DERO could like benefit from having Stratum support per se, you know?
Personally, I don't see a benefit using Tritonn, but
It's just for GPU support. That's all, really.
yes, that's all. Yeah.
And you'll see like K1 pool, and there's another pool, mining pool stats. You'll see their Stratum only. Well, they're Stratum pools, so they can support GPUs. So we need to do the same, right? Just makes sense.
Yeah. And I guess is that just because like the existing GPU miners out there, like for example, that one that was is a G miner? I don't know. They added DERO support. Like that's probably Stratum as well.
Absolutely. They're using K1 pool as their default go-to pool.
Yeah, I see.
So once, eventually there will be like a pretty good GPU miner for DERO, I think, whenever. And it's good to have those pools ready for that. It's only good for the network.
Marcel, you also mentioned earlier that you're working on swaps too. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about that?
Yes, swaps are already active. I can share the link in the chat. One moment.
Yeah, sure. And while you share it in the chat too, just for everybody listening, if you could just
Yeah.
tell everyone where they can find it.
Ooh, we need a web designer.
Yes, we need a web designer. So
Sorry, Marcel.
I learned HTML over 15 years ago, sorry. So, and everything has changed since then. So, it looked like my children have designed this page.
If it works, it works. Hey, I'll hit you up in a few months if I'm less busy. Doing this kind of web development is fun.
Yeah, joking aside, I mean, it's functional, right? I hope.
Yes, it's functional, but it's still in an early stage.
Better, okay.
So the goal is to provide the opportunity to buy and sell DERO without using a centralized exchange. So there's no login required.
I was going to say, just so everyone's aware, we're talking about dero.minemesh.de/swap.
Right.
I see some pairings here. LTC to DERO, BTC to DERO, ARRR to DERO, and then also DERO to LTC, DERO to ARRR. That's nice. I know you were wanting to add more, so that's good.
Yes, always. Monero will be added in the future, but Secret provides Monero swaps at the moment. So, and I'm going to publish the code for the swaps, so everybody will be able to run his own swap service.
How many arts are working together to have something like this work? Like, is it like a DVM basic smart contract?
There are no smart contracts included.
Oh, it's interesting.
So right now I'm running a Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Pirate node at my home computer.
Oh wow. You definitely stand behind what you're building. That's cool.
So there are many requirements to run this service, yeah, but I want to simplify it.
When you decided to set up these swaps, was there Was there any particular reason you decided to set it up the way you did, or was it just the best way that you could figure to do it, or how did it come about?
Yeah, indeed, this is a good question. I don't know why I wanted to create these swaps. It was just an idea that came in my head.
For myself, I think it's like there's a couple out there already. The more, the better. I mean, let's face it. Like DERO, like there's central exchanges, which everybody hates, but they're needed in the space. And then you have KuCoin that's being investigated by the federal government in the U.S. They're probably going to be shut down. We've had CoinX and now needing KYC for DERO or any privacy coin, right? And that just leaves us with, I think, TradeOgre, right? So having these things is very important for anybody.
100% agree with that.
Yashnik, how did you end up linking up with people in the community to become a builder with stuff like this? Did you kind of have to go out seeking opportunities, or did it kind of just happen,
Well, it kind of fell on my lap, really. Like I said, I've been engaged with many different projects. I am friends with many YouTubers, like Red Panda, Rapid Mining, for a long time now. It's 6 years. I was there when they first started their YouTube channels and helped them, get some subscribers and shit. Then they helped me with the projects I was in before, right? But anyway, Rapid Mining, one day, I think we were in a poker tournament and you mentioned DERO. So I just looked into it, joined the community, did some research, found Marcel and Hansen, and we started DERO Community Pools. Yeah, it was the initial node operator.
I got you.
I used to have like 5 of them, I think. I'm down to 2 now. It's enough.
So then how long ago would it have been with DERO specifically then that you really got into it? Because you said you've known them for around like 6 years, but...
The YouTubers and other people I know, yeah, that's when I got into this in crypto, really, 6 years ago. DERO, I'd say now, I don't know, 2.5 years or something like that, Marcel. Something like that.
I think it might be longer than that, actually. You've been around for quite a while.
So I have a question for the I guess the algorithm of the community pools. What determines the payout? Is there like a minimum hash requirement or like a minimum amount of time that you recommend people stay on the pool? Or
I'll let Marcel speak on that. He knows more of the inner workings, but we pay out every 24 hours or whatever the amount of blocks, right?
We pay every 4,800 blocks. So in theory, it's 1 day, 24 hours, but in reality, it's 25 hours.
Yeah, it's 100% sure. 4,800 blocks.
And we don't have a minimum payout level. So it's enough to mine only for a few minutes, submit a few shares, and the lowest value is 1 atomic unit.
beautiful, and that's all handled automatically. That's all scripted to just kind of like a bot, like the bot in Discord, right?
What do you mean?
The payout, that's just a set of code that happens, every 25 hours is what you're saying.
It's fixed in the code.
Great. Gotcha.
How much maintenance is there? Or is it mostly like if you put in work, it's to add stuff rather than maintain?
Currently, it's really hard to add new features or bug fixes. So, because at the moment we have a hash rate of 100 mega hashes, and I don't want to reboot a node so that changes take into place.
Essentially, once you need to restart the node to be able to apply updates, right? But problem is, if you restart a node, it was got a ton of hash rate. Well, that hash rate's gone. It's going to go to the next closest node, right? So that's kind of unfair to the node operator at that point.
Makes sense.
Yeah, at the beginning, the nodes crashed a few times a day. So it was no problem to add changes without deeper impacts. But now our nodes running a few hundred hours without crashing. So it takes a few weeks before all nodes have the same version.
Have you guys been able to figure out the main cause of the nodes crashing?
Yeah. For example, many crashes occur during payout because the wallet created the history, but the CPU load was too high to make all the payments and to maintain the wallet history. This was one of the major bugs.
So then was the fix for that, was it refactoring code or was it just adding more resources to share the workload?
Yeah, I've modified the code. So I built in the wallet in the daemon. So we don't use the wallet binary. So and when payout starts, I just disabled the maintaining of the history.
Gotcha.
And it looks like we have a late joiner as well, so Quest for Designs also joined. So anybody listening, if you hear a new voice, that's who that is. Welcome, Quest.
He must be 6 beers in by now. And who is he? What does he do?
Quest for Designs, actually, he's been working on a few things in the background with us, but one of the things he's been doing for the Vague Nonsense channel and the Nonsense's content is he's been doing dev talks. So his next dev talk, if you look in the Nonsense's website under media, you'll find the first one. And the next one looks like is scheduled to be released next month. So after this, after this ZeroPoint airs, the following Friday will be his second dev talk being released.
What is it about? Well, I know Dev Talk is kind of self-explanatory, but maybe some more details. I don't know.
I'm not sure what his second one's about. Asylum, do you have that? What the main focus is on the next dev talk with Quest?
Quest allowed to speak?
I just don't know if he's actually here or not because
He's typing. He's 4 beers in. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was 4 beers in.
My guess is if he's typing, he probably can't talk.
It's probably the same.
The second Dev Talk episode was mostly surrounding best practices in the dev community, peer review processes, and best practices in smart contract coding, such and such. Mainly trying to get working together, solving each other's problems, looking at each other's project, reading each other's code, helping out.
That's a great thing for everybody here that's not doing that already. Should be doing that. I think it's great. It helps everybody out.
Yeah, and Quest is trying to put together processes for facilitating that. So that'll be really nice to see.
Maybe give him the permissions or Kryptoid and have him, if he can obviously hear us, but just leave and come back. And should be able to talk if you want to talk.
So you guys got any questions for each other or for us?
What's SixOfClubs? I don't know if you're still here. What are you working on currently?
At
If everybody knows, for that matter.
this current moment, I'm not at the liberty to discuss that, but
Oh, exposure. Got it.
Dreams definitely takes up quite a bit of my average time, so I think I'll stick with that answer.
I like it.
You guys know Six is heavily involved in the civilware team, so lots of experimentation going on in that area.
In the what?
The civilware team.
Silverware?
Civilware. So Ngram and Netrunner and Nomon.
Got it.
So that's probably why he doesn't want to disclose some of the stuff he's working on. They probably have a new release coming out.
Yeah.
I'll wildly speculate. I don't care. So Marcel, you've been in the community for a while now. I want to say that you've been here basically since the beginning. Is that right?
Not really. I'm member since May 21, I think. Yeah. So since the final breath of Atlantis.
Okay. So you've been around since basically since Stargate.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I lose track of time and people a lot. I just sometimes it feels like years and it's only been a few months, and sometimes it feels like it's only been a few months and it's been years. So goes crypto. All right. So as far as mining goes, I know that last time when we were talking, Yashnik, you brought up some like new released miners, and I forget, was it Luna that was released right before we talked?
Yeah, it was Luna, yep, like the week before or something like that.
G miner too, right?
Well, G Miner came out with a Stratum miner, yeah.
So have you used DERO Luna since? Did you test it out and get some benchmarks, or what do you think about it?
Absolutely. I mean, the hash rate's unreal. It blows everybody away, honestly.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah, it is. The high dev fee of 10% is also kind of absurd. And that's the biggest pain point as far as rewards at the end of the day. I still think it's probably the best miner out there. But I need to do some testing for sure. But right now, yeah,
So far, it sounds like the hash rate is a true hash rate too. It's getting reported correctly and everything on everything that it mines to, right?
Right. So, I mean, well, yeah, it's 10% hash rate that he takes off. And that's what I really wanted to test. But yeah, if you pair it against the pool, like we have James Bot in our Discord, and he tells you like your actual hash rate, expected pay, and your actual pay, and all that stuff. So it gives you all the information to make the calculations.
For the 10% fee, is it like how XMR used to work, where it would be working towards the pool and then it drops off and mines to its own pool for a little bit and then comes back on?
I think that's how it's working. I'm not 100% on that.
I was just curious. I was wondering how they were actually accomplishing the 10% fee.
Yeah, well, I think it's just taking 10% of your hash rate, essentially. Because, like, for example, I'd have, I don't know, 400 and some kilohash, and on the pool side, I'm getting, let's say, 360.
Okay, so it's actually, it's like just mining separate, like some of the threads are going somewhere else?
Yeah, well, I don't get it, but yeah.
Yeah, if it works similar to mine, because like normally when they switch off miners to like a set block of time, like for X seconds it mines to the dev pool, it'll usually have like a dialogue on the miner that says that.
Right.
But with Luna, it doesn't tell you anything. So I think
it doesn't tell you shit.
So I think it works like mine, where in mine it's like there's just percentage calculated every time work is sent. Okay. The dev pool sends work to the miner and the regular pool sends work to the miner. And then 4% of the time, the miner will just decide to process the dev work instead. So it's like 4% of any of the given hashes at any random time are just calculated on the dev side. I think Luna is probably similar to that.
It sounds like it from what Yashnik described.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Triton's getting more efficient, and I think being open source, I think you'll have a lot of people helping you need. You know what I mean? So that's really awesome.
Darker's already helping me out a bit. Then I've had some others reach out, which has been nice.
Absolutely. There you go.
That's cool to hear too. Because, yeah, I've been waiting for, especially with GPU support, an open source GPU. That's pretty cool. That's actually kind of killer for me, because that just means that's where all my hash rate's going to be coming from.
Do you guys like to compile your miners from the source when they're open source, or do you just download the binaries?
I would say most people probably download the binaries.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking to a smaller group like this, I would say a lot of us would compile it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people just download the binaries. They just want to know that it's open source and other people are kind of vouching for it, right? Like,
yeah,
there's that whole thing with open source software that people say, oh, it's open source, so it can be audited, this and that. But then at the same time, like, 99% of people don't really look at the code. They just download it anyway.
Yeah. That social policing.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of thing.
And there's, for example, Gminer, I think, well, they have a deal with whoever made that miner. I don't know who it is, but, they tweaked it, I guess, or made it a stratum. Whatever they did, I don't know, but the miner who gave it to them basically is getting a cut as well.
I see.
So the more people start building miners that are GPU and are efficient enough, you'll find support from others the same way, I would think. And there's a lot out there.
So, forgive me, but Gminer is a standalone miner, right? It's not like HiveOS where it's an operating system with different miners built in.
No, it's standalone. They've been around forever. Mini-Z is actually someone they're good. I like him. I like the dev. He actually responds to. He wants to be in these kind of things. So, Tritonn, I mean, you should reach out to Mini-Z.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. And I can make that connection with you if you want.
I appreciate it.
I've reached out to Gminer. I've reached out to Mini-Z in the past, like 2 years ago or whatever. Like, come on, guys, work on some fucking GPU miners. And I had some crazy feedback from a couple because of the old days with Atlantis and stuff and XMRig and all that drama.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that won't even, they basically fucking said, fuck you, DERO kind of thing. They haven't followed and they don't know what's going on and they just don't care. They're too busy in their own little world.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good time now, though.
So I have a broad view question for you guys. What do you think is the future of proof of work? Do you think it's sustainable long term, or do you think it needs to evolve?
I think it's going to always be needed, one way, shape, or form. It's all about efficiency.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be like a single thing that can happen that completely turns the tides and makes it like obsolete.
Like the biggest complaint is, the thumb on pollution or whatever, right? Energy. And it's funny because yesterday I read a little article about AI, and AI alone is where Bitcoin is right now in a very smaller, short of time, right? It uses the same energy as a small country, same as Bitcoin. So it's all about efficiency, I think, green power and moving towards that. And Bitcoin and proof of work in general is moving towards that a lot, actually, if you look into it.
I was thinking more along the lines of decentralization limiting factors like access to hash power. I was obviously not the same picture as it was 15 years ago.
No, well, now it's corporate, right? The game has changed.
The game has changed to be more like all the other systems that crypto is wanting to get rid of, right? So I guess it's just the nature of the beast. But like just the principle of proof of work alone, though, like I think it has a solid enough foundation. And even if your percentage of access can get like nuked by like the big players, having access to a percentage that you control completely yourself, I think like because of that side of it, it'll always be around, even if it's like, oh, the world government countries take over and it's all country cryptos now. But like, if there's mineable ones, like your phone's mine or something, as like a UBI, but like some form of it is always going to be present, I think.
Yeah, I just find it interesting looking at statistics, when you're looking at all the chip manufacturers, where the majority of the volume goes to, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the consumer segments are shrinking at light speed, to say the least.
That's true.
We might not make it to the RTX 6090.
Well, even if we do, I mean, 99% of those are not going to people.
Yeah.
So I just have a feeling that question is going to become pretty relevant over the next year or so.
I find it a little bit disturbing that AI uses that much power when you consider that like I set up like AI in my living room on my like extra computer, and it can like do all the stuff that all the websites do when you do like text prompts to images, and that's like a $200 GPU, and it can make images that quickly. It kind of disturbs me when you think of how much power is going into the rest of this, because to me it's pretty impressive that you can even run like even a large language model on a desktop in your living room. But the fact that they're using that much power, I can only imagine what they're actually calculating with this kind of stuff and the amount of data they're actually processing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that nobody else outside of those firms themselves can stop them from directing that CPU, GPU power at whatever the hell they want. So I think that's going to shape an interesting near-term future.
Yeah, I'm actually testing it's a new blockchain that's out there called Neurochain. I'm actually GPU mining, let's call it, towards like their AI infrastructure. It processes whenever somebody's querying the AI. Just pretty cool.
That's a good application.
So the proof of work is kind of proof of work on the AI side of it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And you get rewarded for whatever you process.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot more of that in the future.
Yeah, there's
Even Captain that's mentioned multiple times over the last 2 years that that's his vision as well for DERO. So,
right. And actually, AI is based originally, I guess, on GPU. But now you're seeing all of a sudden CPUs are apparently stronger. And there's like a shift happening now, like towards more CPU.
Is that a different in the models, or
I don't know.
do you know why that is? Why is there starting to get more efficient at it?
Just I guess processing and how the back end is working. I don't know.
My understanding that the biggest bottleneck in AI was mostly network, because there's so much data that has to be fed to the CPUs and the GPUs. So kind of interesting that if CPU is going to be getting stronger too, then I guess I'm not sure exactly where I was going with that thought, but it's wishing it sounds like there's still going to be a lot more network congestion, I guess is where I was going with it. Like you have to push even more data if the CPUs and the GPUs are doing it, right?
And they're going to keep rolling out because like what I do for my day job is I train AI to code. And the amount of work that's coming in, the demand for people to join on to participate in this work training the AI, it seems like it's still going up, just up. So
Absolutely. And again, I'll use my example of Neurochain. You can sign up and actually train their AI system.
there you go.
You can validate other people's inputs, or you can create your own inputs, and then you get rewarded. And then on the same side, you can use your GPUs to validate or process it. That's what it's all about.
That is cool. That is so cool.
a cool thing that I think about sometimes, pour over the DERO blockchain itself retains dead branches. So, and that's by design. So there's a lot of data stored in the node data that can be leveraged for AI training that probably nobody is really thinking about on the consensus side. And the block DAG stuff is still there in the code and disabled. So that's making you ask some questions.
Well, all right. I think we've touched on quite a few things here. Does anybody have anything else they want to touch on before we get going? We're getting close to the hour, not quite there, but I think we might be close to kind of wrapping things up.
I want to roast some wieners on fire.
I guess just thanks for bringing me on. Been nice to be able to talk the stuff because I mean the technical side of things. Not a lot of people just out in the wild want to chew on it, you know.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming.
And talking about an open source miner without chilling it like mindlessly in communities on my own accord is nice too.
Yeah,
We'll just chill it for you. Don't worry about it.
yeah, we'll just start all tweeting about it for no reason. But no, thanks for coming. Thanks for talking about it with us, because this is the type of group of people that we have is people who actually care about these things. So it was really cool having you show up and explain a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Any closing words, Marcel? Did you have anything else you wanted to add about things you're doing before we go? Anything I missed?
I think that's all.
I do want to say though that I want to get another poker tournament going, so I'm going to be reaching out to certain people and see what I can do.
Yeah, poke me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can loop me into that. I'm down. I love poker. And same as SixOfClubs, actually. He's real big into poker, obviously, with dreams and everything. So.
Yeah, it's time.
All right, cool. All right, well, this has been ZeroPoint Module 14. I appreciate everybody that showed up today, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining.